Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo! Welcome in, everybody, to Banger Management, the fantasy hockey podcast. I'm Kevin. I got Josh with me.
Yep.
Honestly, yep. What can you do? What can you do? Thank you, everybody, for being here. I am so excited to record this episode. Today, we are going to be covering the Atlantic Division. We're going to be going through all the teams. We're going to be highlighting all the fantasy relevant players from all the teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think Josh and I don't know. We're each going to have our own rankings on the divisions. I don't know if we're going to disagree or agree too much. I feel like it really depends on the division. But I mean, this is our division.
Yeah.
We're Habs fans.
Yeah,
So
this is the best division. And this is also, we're not just talking about the Atlantic. We're going to do a rankings. So Kevin and I each ranked the Atlantic teams. We did the same thing for every division. So we're going to have an episode on each one. This is the first of that series. So we each ranked each division, and then we took the average of our ranks to get the overall podcast rankings of each division. And if ever there was a tie in averages, then we just went with we put whoever finished higher last year as the higher of the two as the tiebreaker. But yeah, I'm excited. I think that some of the divisions were pretty similar. And I know at least one division we're way off because I think I put all my spiciness in one division. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got and talking about some players.
all the missing Jakey energy from last year, where he would go a little spicy with the standings, we took all of that and we put it into one division. It's not. I don't think it's the Atlantic, but maybe in the coming days when you guys listen to the other episodes, you might hear some spiciness.
Yeah, it's gonna get wild.
Before we get into it, I just want to say we got a question in the mailbag that I thought it was worth answering. Just one question. It'll be a quick question. Okay? Because I actually spoke to him about this
the Discord mailbag. If you're not in the Discord, make sure to join.
Yes, you should join the Discord. But Discord mailbag question from Shepherd Commander. And he said, from doing the Banger Management Community Baseball League this last year, it made him think about the skater and the goalie equity. In fantasy baseball, hitters can still hurt your rate stats by not getting on base or swinging and missing. In fantasy hockey, most settings, there's like zero downsides to playing a skater unless you're playing with plus minus. Meanwhile, goalies pose a lot of downside because, they can mess up your whole week with one bad performance. So he's asking if it's worth considering adding shooting percentage as a stat to kind of like balance out, how goalies get affected by rate stats of like a negative performance can really be a negative, as opposed to, you can't get a negative as a skater. So shooting percentage, if you're taking a lot of shots and you're missing a lot, that could be a way to like balance it out. So you wanted to know what we think about that, if it's like, worth considering, or maybe it's too much, or I have my own opinion, but I want to see what you think, Josh.
I mean, I'll start off by saying that one of the reasons why I'm so pro zero G is specifically for that reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you're better off not playing a goalie than playing a goalie. Whereas if you're in a good league, aka a league that doesn't have plus minus, you're never punished for playing a player. So the amount of times where, you're doing, especially in a Cats league, you're doing the math on, should I play my goalie? I'm slightly up in this category. My opponent has a goalie to play. I could put myself at risk, or my goalie doesn't have a goalie to play. I can risk one category with the goal of hopefully gaining another one. So you're doing the math on that. It definitely makes things interesting, but it makes to me like it removes a lot of value from goalies because they can be a negative when they play. So I don't necessarily I like the strategy aspect of that for goalies. I don't necessarily know if I want to bring that in to skaters, like taking out the specific like shooting percentage of it, because I think the idea behind the question more in general, like would you want some sort of negative cat on players? I don't know if I mean it's another level of strategy, but for me, like fantasy, like I like optimizing my schedule to get as many games played as possible. I don't want to have to start thinking each individual player, should I play him this game? Should I not play him this game? Honestly, I think if we ended up with a cat like that, I would probably just punt that cat and focus on just getting the maximum amount of games played. Because at the end of the day, that would be one category with possible negatives versus, let's say, 9 other skater categories where it's only positive to play them. So I feel like at the end of the day, it would just kind of be like a nuisance that you don't really think about too much. So for me, I'm kind of against it. I like, play your players when you're playing fantasy. Yeah, but that's just me.
I mean, I kind of agree. I have a different sentiment, like in terms of my reasoning, but I feel like a shooting percentage for skaters, like forwards, would obviously be like a factor that I'd have to take into account. But I feel like it's already so correlated with other stats that are being counted. Like, yeah, maybe the guy is getting you straight zeros. On top of it, you're going to get a negative percentage. it kind of feels like the negative zeros feels like a negative in itself. It doesn't look like a negative because it's not negative, it's just zero, but it still feels awful, right? When you get straight zeros, that's like the worst thing that could happen in my entire life. So
Yeah.
and I feel like guys that are good at shooting or take a lot of shots will have maybe worse shooting percentages, but they're still going to be the elite fantasy players that you want on your team. So if it's not even correlated with guys that are successful at fantasy, I feel like it's not necessarily the most relevant to bring into fantasy.
Yeah.
If that makes
Agreed.
sense. Yeah, that was that. But I thought it was interesting as a concept because obviously I like mixing things up and getting spicy with it, but at some point we're just looking for new things and consider all the options. But
I like spicing things up and getting fun with it, but at the same time I feel like I just love our league settings. I feel like they're so optimal and so great. So anytime like anything else gets thrown at me, I'm like,
you're like, no,
I have to take off. That's it. I have to take off like my skeptical lens and try and look at it with an open mind. But my first instinct is like, no, we're perfect. I don't want to change anything. And that's why we're making all these banger management leagues for everyone to join with our league settings. Quick plug that, and then we'll get into the rankings. But our Patreon is live. It's been live for like a few days now.
3 days?
3
4
days. Yeah, man, it feels like even longer because it's been so exciting and so much fun going on with the Patreon. So check that out. The links are in our link tree. It's in everywhere you can find the Discord, whatever. Like message me personally if you can't find the link. I don't know. We'll get the links are out there
if you can't find the link.
Exactly. Like the links are out there if you're interested. We've got a couple different tiers of subscriber. You can check that all out with the details. But we've got an array of stuff. So for the banger management leagues, you just have to be the lowest tier subscriber to join those. If you want access to my projections, then you would want to be a tier 2. And I mean, this is just among other things, but I have to talk about the projections because if anyone is an Excel nerd like me, this thing is insane. This beast that I'm building, I think I'm at like 60 tabs right now. I have an individual tab for every single team and their projected lines and how that'll affect time on ice. It's crazy. It's a crazy. I can't wait to see the numbers that it pops out and then obviously make tweaks and stuff. But I'm really excited. This is our first year doing it. So hopefully we get some subs there because it would be great to share it with people and not just to spend all this time for just myself and whatever. But anyways, Patreon's awesome. Come join our banger management leagues. Should we get into this?
Well, I need to add on to it just a little bit.
Yes.
But because so many of you guys were asking last year, like, how do we join the banger management leagues? What are they going to look like? So all the information is on the Patreon. And I just want to give a little disclaimer because a lot of people have never, gone through Patreon before or whatnot. So like Josh said, you have to join the lowest tier subscription for the Patreon to get access to the banger management leagues. And then you have to make sure you link your Discord to Patreon. Now, if you're on your computer, you can do it easily. You just go into settings, go to connected apps, and you link your Discord right there. If you're not on Discord, you can make one just for this, literally just for this. If you're on your phone, the Patreon app doesn't actually have a way to link your Discord for some reason. I don't know why they don't do that, but you just go through like the browser of your phone. So like if you're on Apple, you can go like Safari or Google Chrome or whatever. And then like on the website of Patreon, you can do it from there. Then you link your Discord. And then once you do that and you're a registered tier 1 member, let's say, or tier 2 or tier 3, whatever, you'll get access to specific Discord channels depending on your tier. And then you'll see the sign up link in the tier 1 section for in the Discord channel for the banger management, the BMPL. And I do want to shout out, we have a handful. By handful, we have like 12 members of the Discord that are already registered, that are ready to be slotted into their league for this upcoming year. So I want to shout everybody out. We got Murdoch, we got Jordary, we got Roser96, we got Sir Seymour Cheeks, we got Free Range Disco Ball, we got Wolf Tiger, we got Miyagi, we got Shepherd Commander, we got Kema, we got Mr. Krakens, and I know there's a few others that have yet to sign up to the BMPL, but that are registered on Patreon. So once they're signed up, I'll shout them out. But just want to say thank you, everybody, already. I know, we've been talking about it a lot, and it's finally here. So we really appreciate all the support. I know wherever you're putting your money, like no matter the amount, it's still impactful. And we're not here asking for charity or anything like that. We're really trying to set up something here for everybody to enjoy, and it just motivates us to keep making content for you guys and keep pumping everything out, and motivates us to keep going. So we really appreciate all the support in any fashion, whether you're just a listener, whether you're just a the guy that's giving us all the dislikes on YouTube or whatever. No, no, nobody's giving us dislikes, but please don't now that I said that.
Yeah, I was like, you're begging for it there. Yeah, I mean, no, honestly, like I was getting like an email every time we got a new Patreon subscriber, and I'm like sitting there working on my projections, like
and
a
it's
little
mid-August.
Excel monkey, you know, and I'm just like, every time I get an email, I'm like, damn, I gotta make it even more pimped out these projections, you know, add another like statistical analysis, you know. So yeah, no, it's awesome. It's really exciting, and I'm really excited for the banger management leagues and to get into it with everyone. On that note, I think
for all the tier 2 members, Josh's Excel model is close to being finished, so you can expect the rankings in the next few weeks, just ahead of draft season. That you'll have all of September to look through that and customize them as you wish. And yeah, all the perks are there, so go take a look. But really appreciate all the support. And now we can get into the Atlantic Division.
All right. That's a lot of preface for our listeners to get through, but it was all fun stuff. So, okay, let's do it. Let's get into our Atlantic Division rankings. Let's start with... Oh, you took a drink right when...
Sorry, the lack of chemistry here today. I don't know what's happening. I want to drink some water. You wanted me to say number 8.
There it is. All right. At number 8, we've got the Detroit Red Wings. Josh and Kevin both ranked them number 8. Last year, they were 6th in the division, so we're predicting a 2-spot drop. And Kevin, why don't we each say which player on the Detroit Red Wings is most likely to end up on our roster?
Ooh,
so
okay.
I'll give you a second to
yeah, we got a little whiteboard here. We're just gonna write our answers so we surprise each other.
Exactly.
This is spicy. Okay.
All right, I've got my answer locked and loaded.
Oh, everybody's going to see my terrible handwriting now. I'm outing myself.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, wait, it's...
Wait, is mine flipped on your screen? Okay,
no,
okay, I see yours not backwards, but I see my own backwards.
Oh, I was gonna drop the S-bomb right there.
So I think we're good.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
Mine is Ben Sherratt.
Wow, that's honestly unsurprising. That should have come from me. That's but no, I love that. Yeah, why Ben Sherratt?
I just think the other players, the Siders, the Brinkets, the Larkins, the Raymonds. I just feel like I'm a little lower on Detroit this season, and wherever those guys are getting drafted, I feel like there's always alternatives that I like more. So I just feel like it's unlikely that they end up on my team. Not that I'm super down on them or whatnot. I just feel like it's unlikely. And Ben Sherratt, I may not draft him, or I may draft him with the last pick of my draft, but I feel like he was such a solid banger for me last year. He carried me through stretches where I really needed him. So a little tongue in cheek, but I feel like out of all of them, he might be the one that's most likely to end up on my team.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair answer because clearly we're both low on them because we both ranked them 8.
Yeah.
I had Lucas Raymond as my answer. I think that of those top guys you mentioned, Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Sider, I think those are really the 4 only guys worth owning in terms of points. And I feel like Raymond's just my favorite of those guys.
He's also my favorite.
I think that, and I don't think he necessarily I don't think he necessarily goes highest. I think Sider probably goes first out of that group, and then maybe Larkin goes before Raymond. Although there's a stink around Larkin with that whole contract thing, but and even DeBrincat might go. Like Raymond might go the 4th out of those 4 players. I'm not sure, but
no, I think Raymond goes ahead of DeBrincat.
You think so?
I think so for sure. Larkin, is he gonna start the season as a Red Wing?
I don't know. That's why I have my my models dynamic where I could change whatever team he's on. You can tell I've been working on it for hours today because it's just fresh on the mind. But yeah, no. So I mean, Detroit, honestly, like even without the whole Larkin scenario, I still feel like out of this division, I'd be super low on them, like probably the lowest on them. But the whole Larkin thing just makes it a no-brainer to me as having them ranked last.
Like realistically, they finished 6th last year. The teams that finished behind them last year, Florida, who major bounce back candidate, right?
Yeah.
And Toronto also, I feel like major bounce back candidate. So if those were the only 2 teams worse than them last year, and those teams were like, it felt like an exceptional year.
And then Detroit got worse. So it's kind of
it's tough. I think the Atlantic is always tough, right? Like there's always it feels like all the teams are in the same tier, kind of. Like they're so close together. Even the worst one is not as far back compared to other divisions to the best team in that division. But I think Detroit is clearly I feel like Detroit is clearly falling behind.
Yeah, I agree. The Iser plan is dead. So that he
I mean, he's
got
gone
fired.
now.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's out of there. We'll see if they can right the ship. I don't think they've even found a replacement GM yet.
Not
Right? They're
yet.
still looking. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think they need to make some big move. Look, if they could turn the Larkin situation into lemonade or something, and make it
Yeah.
not a complete loss, then they still have these young pieces, right? Like Raymond Sider are both young. DeBrincat, it's not old. You have other like some pieces there, like we kind of liked Marco Casper going into last year, as a kind of like banger 2C type of guy.
Yeah.
Emmett Finney was a big surprise last year. So
Yep.
Axel Sandin Pellikka, like there's definitely some pieces there that could be solid, but as it stands, they need to make some big moves to move up from number 8, I think.
If Larkin resigns there, do you think like you feel different about them or no?
Well, I mean, he wouldn't resign, right?
No,
Oh,
but
you're
like if
saying
he
like
stay,
like
if he stays
if
there,
he had
like
like if he hadn't brought this whole thing up, like if
yeah.
yeah,
No, but even
I
now, like let's say he comes out with the
changes his
Werenski post
mind.
and he's like,
Yeah,
I always wanted to stay. I'm happy to be here.
yeah.
Blah blah.
No, it doesn't change my mind. I think at the end of the day, it's also you have to look at the rest of the division, and there's no one else in the division that I think Detroit's going to be better than.
Yeah.
All right, should we go to
number 7?
At number 7, we have the Ottawa Senators. Josh has them ranked at 7, Kevin at 6. Last year they were 5th, so this brings them to a -2 spot drop.
Yeah.
Let's do again. Who is most likely on this
you
roster?
You already know my
to
answer.
End up on your team. I already know Kevin's answer. Anyone who's been in the Discord or a listener from last year should know Kevin's answer. This is a tough one because I like a lot of their pieces. I'm trying to think kind of like where in the draft I'm actually going to take one of them.
I'm curious to see.
All right.
Your pick.
You ready? 3, 2, 1.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Really? I'm actually shocked by that.
Yeah. So my answer was William Eklund, not because I think he's better than Stützle, Batherson, Cousins, Sanderson. Like I think he's the worst of those 5. I think he's going to be on power play 1 with those other 4 guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that for the draft cost, so assuming he doesn't get super overhyped because of the trade, and then his draft cost gets too expensive, then I won't take him, But if people, still like look at him how he was on San Jose, I think this is a much bigger opportunity for him.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, he wasn't even stapled onto power play 1. He wasn't stapled onto line 1. I think this year he has the opportunity to be both. And I just think this is a great spot for him and where he ended up. So I like his points kind of potential
Upside,
for this coming year. And I like the potential value of where you can get him in the draft.
I mean, he's going to be a double-digit round player for sure. Like you'll get him like round 11, round 12 type of thing.
Like I could see him being like last year I got Morgan Geeky like round like 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
If I can get Eklund like round 12, something like that, like that's I think a pretty solid to get power play. I got power play 1.
You could get him 14 probably.
There's a chance, and that's why I put him on my list because he's gonna be power play 1 on the team that was 4th best power play in the league last year.
Yeah. I'm just surprised you don't have like. I think these better name, like these quote unquote better names. Sorry, they're big names. Like Stützle is not nothing, right? And he's going to be a stud.
I think Stützle you have to take in the 2nd round. That's kind of how I see it.
Probably get him in the 3rd.
Last year in our draft, he went in the 2nd round.
It's tight. But I think he's going to have a lot more.
Taking him in the 2nd round compared to some other guys.
Yeah, but like Batherson, you wouldn't take in the 6th or 7th. Like I think he's going to get a payday as well.
I love Batherson, but
I had him on my team last year, and he was a beast.
But last year you got him at like 8th or 9th, something like that.
No, it was 7.
It was 7?
Yeah.
That's a solid spot for him. I could see that. I just think I'd rather take Eklund at like 13, 14.
You could get
I feel
both.
Like...
But which was most likely Eklund?
Yeah, exactly. I just think for the draft cost, like I like Eklund better than Batherson.
My answer was Dylan Cousins. If everybody saw my whiteboard, if you're not watching on YouTube, please go watch on YouTube because I added hearts. I added a big smiley face with hearts. Because for those who don't know, he was almost my signature pick last year, and I had him on all my teams. I mean, I picked Brandon Hagel instead, and Hagel is also a beast. But I have a love affair with Dylan Cousins. I just think he's my favorite archetype of player, like the centers that bangs that also get points. And last year he was like honestly one of my most consistent players. And at some point he was hitting like he was averaging like 4 hits a game at some point, almost 3 shots a game. The power play was clicking. It felt like every time there was a goal, I would look and it would be like Cousins from Batherson and Stutzel,
Yeah.
or it was just
No,
amazing.
he's
I
a
think this year
beast.
he's gonna be the guy that I really want on my team again. Like, I got him last year in the 8th or the 9th, I think. I probably
I
have
think
to
the
take him
8th.
earlier than that, by 7
Yeah.
or 6, 7 or 8. I think
You're not
this
getting
year
him in round 8. I think you'd have to get him like in the 6th or the
7.
7th. Yeah,
I think people are
especially
onto
because
him at this point.
so I'm gonna snipe him from you for sure.
Are you?
It's like I'll trade
No,
him
you
to you,
can't.
but
Give you all your best players.
exactly. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised in the slightest. But he's so good. Like, these types of players are so fun to own because they're
Yeah.
never gonna put you anywhere near zeros, even if they don't
Yeah.
get points for you. They're gonna, but like, it's rare to have a bangers guy who's also again power play 1 on the
Yeah.
4th best power play in the league. So yeah, what do you think of big squishy-liness this year?
It's tough. I feel like he's got to be better regular season than he was last year, right? Regular season last year was abysmal. It was like something from Satan. But I just feel like he's always squishy, right? That's why we call him Squishy Linus Hallmark. So can you rely on his health? I don't know, but I feel like you'll probably get a good deal on where he's going to be going in drafts. He's probably going to be one of those middle draft type of guys, right? Like round 8, 9, goalie number like 12 off the board type of thing, probably.
Yeah, so for that price, I don't like him, and obviously this is taking out the whole 0G thing.
Yeah.
But if you can get him in double-digit rounds, like around 12 or something like that, I think that's a really good spot to get him.
I'm curious how ADP is going to fluctuate and
Yeah.
where he's going to end up. It obviously is going to depend on the draft, especially with goalies.
Yeah.
But I can see myself owning him if he goes like really late like that. Like, he'll probably be a guy that I circle on my draft list. Like, if he's still there by that round, maybe I consider it.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Ottawa in general, though? We both have them pretty low, right? Last year, they were a fringe playoff team. This year, they take a step back. No more Brady Tkachuk. But I told you, like, I feel like maybe that's a blessing in disguise for them, regular season-wise. I don't know, to a certain degree.
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, what they did was they took Brady and turned him into William Eklund, right? Obviously, they got a bunch of draft capital in the process, so that's awesome for long-term. But if we look at this year specifically, that's the main change to their roster. And Brady Tkachuk is way better than William Eklund. I'm sorry, but that just is how it is. And it's not just about points, because it can honestly be pretty similar this year with Eklund getting more opportunity. But what Brady brings to the team, like, I know everyone likes to clown on him. Everyone, people are not fans of him after his stunts to bring himself to Florida and all that. But at the end of the day, he is a really good player. And I think it's going to be a big loss for Ottawa. And it's their captain also. And I don't know. I think it's just it's a big loss. So that's why I have them dropping. And again, kind of on the Detroit comment of like, it's just such a strong division that I don't see many teams that they can beat in the standings. So this one, I'm like willing to see. I could see them go like 6th or 5th instead of 7th, but I don't see their ceiling being that high.
For me, there's like a top 4 and a bottom 4 in this division, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams within that tier of the division, like the top half, the bottom half, finish anywhere in that tier to me. So I feel bad putting them, like, they end up at 7. I almost put them on 7. The team ahead of them, I was very reluctant to put. So we'll talk about it next. But yeah, I feel bad because I actually like Ottawa. I feel like I like their fantasy players. Even as a Habs fan, I still enjoy watching them play.
Yeah.
So I wish them success. So we'll see if it happens this year.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like after all these years of being so into fantasy and stuff, like, if I see a team that just has a lot of good fantasy assets, it's hard for me to dislike them. It's just like, oh, they're a fun team. They have good players, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of, like, I was looking, when I'm doing these projections, I'm looking at like Vancouver and Calgary, and I'm just, oh my God. I have nothing against those teams normally, but I'm just, there's zero assets there. So I like Ottawa, but I think that's where they're going to finish.
Except Matt Vigridden.
Of course. All right. Let's go to
number 6.
At number 6, we have the Boston Bruins. Josh ranked them 6th. Kevin ranked them 7th. Last year, they were 4th, so this is another 2-spot drop. So far, the first 3 teams we've listed are all a 2-spot drop, which means that we're going to be projecting some teams jumping up after this.
Yeah, shocker.
Yeah, that is how that works. All right, who is most likely to end up on your team from this list? For me, it's an easy one.
I already know who you're picking. All right, I got my answer.
You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
He's geeking.
I'm geeking.
So Josh goes in Morgan Geeky. I go with Elias Lindholm. Are you shocked?
I don't think I'm shocked, honestly. Like, looking at the list, obviously Pasta's just, you have to be specifically
Yeah.
what, 6th overall or 7th overall, something like that, to get
Yeah.
him. But so you're never gonna put him in when we're doing a thing like this. And then of the other guys on that, actually, you know what? I would probably have pegged you for Charlie McAvoy over Lindholm.
Really? I think it's gonna go too
Yeah.
early for me.
I feel like he might drop a bit because of the suspension. I know it's only 6 games, but maybe
Yeah.
seeing that out tag
It's
next
true.
to him or
Maybe.
NA tag or whatever.
It's a suspended tag.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like 2 weeks of being short a player. Obviously, in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things, that's nothing, but maybe
Yeah.
that makes him drop a bit. I feel like he's always a bangers beast.
Yeah.
Boston was randomly super hot on the power play last year,
Yeah.
and he's the power play one quarterback. So, yeah, I'm not surprised by Lindholm, though, because I feel like he's a classic. He'll get you 1 point something shots. He'll get you like
Yeah.
possibly double-digit face-off wins, 1 hit, 1 block, and then he's on power play 1, and it's just a constant bounce-back candidate ever since he had that unreal year in Calgary.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised to see you put him.
I mean, my thought process, honestly, I debated with Charlie McAvoy. That was like,
Yeah.
like now, honestly, I feel like I should have put Charlie. Because I'm looking back. My thought process is, I feel like I might punt faceoffs again. You know, I won last year, punted faceoffs. This year, I feel like Elias Lindholm was the perfect guy you get late in the draft that like can be a faceoff guy that you hold down the fort with.
Yeah.
And he's decent for bangers. He'll have good deployment. But is there really any use holding a guy that's gonna get you like 1 shot, 1 hit, 1 block, and like 10 faceoff wins? And you know, he underperformed last year for where he was and what he was doing, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But McAvoy, I agree. Like he's the type of guy that can be really prolific on the power play, and he's really good at blocks, and he'll touch the other categories as well for bangers. So I think he's the most likely. I was in my head. I feel like he's gonna go earlier than I want.
That's fair.
For where I want to draft my D. Like if I'm drafting a points D, it's not gonna be McAvoy.
Yeah.
And then I might just
McAvoy's
draft
like you get
bangers
him
after.
You get him like round 10, and he's that kind of like.
I think it's going earlier than that. I think like round 8.
I mean, yeah, I could see that.
Especially after last year, because last year he was pretty solid.
That's fair. So yeah, he goes in those like 8 to 10 rounds, and he's one of those kind of like a mix between points defenseman and bangers defenseman, because he's not necessarily at leader either, but he's good at both.
He's very rounded.
Yeah, exactly. Just a well-rounded player. I'm sure you're not surprised about my pick. I mean, it was the best owning him last year. I drafted him in the 14th round. We had talked about him as one of our top 10 breakout guys coming into last season, and he just went above and beyond, and it was just so fun riding the wave. And then I sold high on him and got, Matthews in return. Obviously, it was a part of a bigger trade, but yeah, I think he's just a great player for fantasy. He's always like, he's not necessarily a double-double, but he always chips in on hits and he shoots power play points. Goal scoring, he was for like a third of the season last year. He was tied with McKinnon for the league lead in goals.
Yep.
So he was battling out for the Richard. So I love me some Morgan Geekie. And
where do you think he goes though? Because the secret's out. It feels like he was so good last year that I feel like he still lacks the name recognition, the name value. People see Morgan Geekie, they're like, this guy was a fluke, flash in the pan type of thing, right?
That's it.
I think his deployment is solid. He's actually a good player. He's not the flashiest name. I think that's going to do him justice for fantasy. I think you're going to get him at a value no matter where he goes. But he's still going to be more expensive than last year, right? You're not getting him around 14 anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, you can get him around 10 or 11, I feel like.
You think?
He's not going to... Yeah, I don't think he's going... Like, earliest is round 9, in my opinion. Maybe I'm underestimating, but I think like the whole name value thing you were talking about and people think is a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
I think all that's going to make it so that he drops lower than. And also he started off super, super hot, maintained it for a while, but then he did have a really cold stretch at one point. So maybe that's also fresh in people's mind because that happened later in the season. So all that makes me think that maybe he goes later, but if he goes as like at his ceiling, then yeah, I probably won't end up with him. But if I can get him like round 10 or 11, I'd be pretty happy.
Round 9 Geeky or like round 7 Cousins?
I'd take Cousins. I think he's better enough that yeah.
Josh, no, we can each have our own.
Yeah, I want yours and mine.
Too greedy out here. Too greedy.
Yeah, very greedy. All right, let's go to the next one. At
number 5.
All right, at number 5, this is the first one that's making a positive change in our rankings. We've got the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yes, that's how you know we're real ones, because we're Habs fans, but we're still projecting them highly. Josh has them at number 4. Kevin has them at number 5. Last year, they were 8th, last in the division, so we're projecting them at +3 jump in the standings. And all right, who's the most likely to end up on your team? Let's do it.
I don't know who I'm writing down yet.
I know who I'm writing down.
Okay. I'm between 2 players. I think we're going to say the same one.
Yeah, I think so too.
Please don't judge my handwriting.
Me too. Mine's pretty bad. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, classic.
Yeah. I wrote
very nice.
Very nice is a good team name, actually, if you get Matthew Nyes on your team.
Yeah.
So we both said the same player, Matthew Nyes. I just feel like he's a banger stud.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think he's one of the only guys on this team that's going to be like a banger category monster, that like that prolific power forward. We expected a jump last year. We got it, but I still feel like he has more in the tank.
Yeah.
The only thing with me is the power play uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
Like, if anybody's getting bumped from that power play for Gavin McKenna, it's probably going to be Nyes. Like, Radish is going to be there. Matthews is going to be there. Tavares is probably going to be there. Nylander is going to be there.
Yeah.
So, unless they're bumping Tavares off, which is not impossible, you know?
Yeah.
But he's really good for faceoffs. That's the question, right? So, if come preseason or come during the season, we see Nyes is getting bumped off power play 1, obviously he's going to be less likely to be on my team. But I feel like McKenna starts on power play 2, and they're just going to roll with Nyes. And I think he has a great year ahead of him. I'd be really happy if he was on my team.
Yeah, here's my updated answer. This is what I've got.
How do you feel about Jim Hiller being a power play? Like, how he influenced the power play? I saw somebody in the Discord say that he's a power play specialist.
He is a hockey terrorist, and I hate him. I had updated my, for those not watching, I updated my board to say none, F Jim Hiller. Because he got hired as the new Leafs coach. So, I mean, last year was so frustrating as any owner of anyone on the Kings, because he just wasn't, owning Brant Clark for a while, on him just putting the corpse of Drew Doughty out there on power play 1 instead of Brant Clark. The whole, messing with Darcy Kemper when he finally got hot, and then putting Anton Forsberg in net. Anyways, I hate Jim Hiller, but yeah, I still think that the Nyes, like, it's tough because it depends where he's gonna go. But if he goes, let's say, like, 6th round, something like that.
Yeah, I think 6 is pretty fair.
That's kind of it's hard to take a guy like that in the 6th round.
He's gonna be double.
That's the bangers I'm not worried about at all, and even strength I'm not worried about at all. It's really that power play deployment you were talking about, and it's specifically because of McKenna, right? Because if they didn't have McKenna, that top 5 is locked in. But because McKenna's kind of lurking, and I think he's going to start power play 2, but I feel like at some point in the season, especially if he lives up to his potential, they're going to bump him up to power play 1, and then it's like you were just saying, who's coming off? It's either Matthew Nyes or John Tavares. The other 3 are locked in. So I don't like having that stress of the power play 1 question marks on a 6th round pick, but the bangers might be worth it enough, and that's why I still put him also. I would love to have him on my team, but it's definitely something to consider.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
Yeah.
Who did both of us draft in the 6th round last year?
Who did I draft in the 6th round?
You drafted Andrei Svechnikov in the 6th round last year.
Oh yeah.
And I drafted Will Cooley.
Yeah.
Not too much to write home about in terms of power play security, right?
That's true.
Either of those guys.
And I was miserable for the first month of the season.
Longer than a month.
Okay, yeah. And I told myself, next time, don't waste a 6th round pick on a guy who's not guaranteed power play 1.
I mean, it felt like Svech was guaranteed power play 1, right? What happened? We could not have foreseen what happened to him last year. But that's the whole point, right? Is that in the 6th round, there's guys that have specific, archetypes of players that are still valuable for fantasy, and maybe the power play 1 at that point is more like an upside as opposed to something else. If you're getting a guy that's going to get 2.5 hits, 2.5 shots type of thing, with a better than not chance of getting power play 1 time.
Yeah, it's the same idea as when you drafted Trocheck last year. You were like, I'm happy, even if he's power play 2, but he brings to the table in terms of a Bangers Cats League is so valuable that I'm still happy with him. If he gets power play 1, that's a bonus, and it's in the realm of possibility. So it's the same thing with Matty Nyes. I mean, also if you look at his average stats from last year, they're okay, but he had a really cold stretch. Before that cold
Yeah.
stretch, he was on fire. He was one of the best bangers out there. The shots and hits was nuts. He was putting up points. So, and we both think that he could take another step this year. So that's why he ends up on both our lists.
And to my knowledge, I think Toronto has a really good playoff schedule. So,
okay.
I think they're one of the teams that has 4 games in the championship final. So, listen, we're gonna do a deep dive in the schedule in the coming days. Just like do a little small episode recap for that for everybody that's debating, week 25 final, week 26 final, week 27 final. Hopefully not week 27.
Yeah,
not week 27, but potentially week 26 or 25.
Yeah.
I think Toronto guys will be kind of popular, and I'm excited. I think the power play can really take a big step up, which will help Nyes overall
for sure,
and these other assets.
Yeah, before we move on, quick question on the goaltender situation. They signed Sergei Bobrovsky. They ship out Joseph Woll. They ship out Dennis Hildeby. And they have Anthony Stolarz still. So that they're recreating the Panthers tandem from 3 years ago, something like that. What do you think? Is Bob just going to get almost all the starts and Stolarz is back to being a full backup? Or is it more of a 1A, 1B because of his age?
I think Bob gets 45 starts.
That's like
45 to 50. The dude's old.
Yeah.
I think both
of
these guys
much fewer than I thought you would say.
I mean, I think 50 is where I would maybe
cap it. Okay.
Cap it. I just think that they're gonna want to play both of those guys to keep both of them fresh. I think Bob, thrives when he gets consistent rest between his games and stuff. That's my projection of it. The situation. It's just what kind of Bobrovsky are we going to get? It's a different system, different team ahead of him, and he's older. I think he has something to prove now that Florida didn't want to pay him, and he's going to be like, maybe I'll get revenge and be the best Bobrovsky again, but I'm just a little bit more skeptical of the situation. And I think Stolarz is a good enough goalie that, if push comes to shove, he could be a 1, potentially. Yeah. The thing is, it's harder to be a 1 when you got a guy that they just signed ahead of him, and it's Sergei Bobrovsky, Vezina winner,
Yeah, absolutely. So are you kind of out on both of them because of all this uncertainty and the split?
I would be comfortable. I mean, if I was going to draft a goalie, I'd draft Bob.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be too rich for my blood. Unless he goes he's around 12, 13 guy, and I'm drafting my first goalie off the board in round 14 because maybe it's a little ambiguous. But besides that, I'm probably out.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel like I agree with what you're saying there. I'm in the same boat.
And he was awful last year, right? And Florida had some bad stretches, obviously. They were one of the worst teams. But his stats never got better.
No.
So.
Yeah, we had him as a buy low for the whole season.
It's only up from here.
Exactly. Well, it didn't get worse. All right, let's go to
number 4.
At number 4, we've got the Buffalo Sabres. Another drop. We've got, Josh had them ranked at 5. Kevin had them ranked at 4. Last year, they were the best team in the division. So
nobody projected that.
This is projecting a 3-spot drop for Buffalo. Let's say who we're most likely to end up with on this team, and then we can get into the details. Oh man, this is a tough one.
Not for me.
I know who you're putting.
No, you don't.
All right, I've got mine. You ready?
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Hey. Tage Thompson, baby.
I feel like a lot of these ones we're going for the bargain bin, who can we get best draft value for? Tage, I'll take him at cost. Honestly, I think he's that good. What is he going, second or third round?
Probably mid second to early third. I think he'll fall in that range.
And I'm happy to take him there.
I'm happy to take him there too.
He's so good. I got him last year. I think I got him in the 4th round. I had him slotted as I wanted him as my 3rd round pick last year. And then the guy I wanted ahead of him as my 3rd round pick was still available. So I wanted Sider just because I wanted a defenseman. So I take Sider, and then he comes back to me at 4, and Tage is still there. And I was like, this is nuts.
Yeah,
so it's not going to happen again. But
then you flipped him for McDavid.
He's so good. Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Did you think I was going to go Josh Norris for real?
No, I don't know. I think it's Josh Norris is the type of guy look, I was on the Josh Norris train before you were. That's it. I paid my Josh Norris dues. I got cooked by him.
Wait, when?
2 years ago.
No chance. I feel like I always had Josh Norris.
I was the Josh Norris drafter before you were. I mean, I would always like draft him, and you'd be like, "Oh, I was gonna take him like the next round or
Yeah,
something." It's not
okay.
like you weren't interested, but I would
Yeah,
usually
yeah,
get him. And but the last year you were the one who got him, and then you got
yeah.
cooked by him. So no, I
Yeah,
knew you weren't gonna put him. If you didn't have him last year, I think you would have put him. But you
probably.
paid your dues.
I have paid my dues and then
Yeah,
some.
yeah.
I
So what
think
do
I
you think
got
about
like
Buffalo?
one period out of him last year before he got hurt.
Yeah,
Uh,
literally. So fourth, we both have them kind of dropping this year.
yeah, but I'm surprised you have them behind Toronto. Like I think Buffalo did a lot to cement their position last year. Even in the playoffs, like they had a really good showing. Like they almost made it, to
Yeah,
the
I
semifinals,
mean,
right? So
I just think that in terms of their actual team that they're icing this year compared to last year, they
yeah,
just got worse. They lost Alex Tuck, they lost Bo Byram, and they pretty much what did they get back? Like I like what they did for the long term of the team. Like that Bo Byram trade for like fourth overall
yeah,
is a no brainer, huge win for Buffalo. But in terms of this year and how it affects their roster this year, it's just an L, right? And losing Alex Tuck for nothing, I think signing him to that deal by Washington, it's going to age terribly. But in this specific year, I would rather have Tuck at that deal than just have lost him for nothing. So that's why I see them getting worse. Now, obviously, they were first, right? And I don't think they got crazy worse because of those two moves. So it's why did I put them all the way down to 5 instead of something like down to 4 like you
hmm
did? And it's just I guess it's more like I'm into what Toronto did this offseason. I think they made some really good moves. I think the Darren Radish acquisition is sick. I know obviously there's a lot of question marks because he had never done that before.
yeah.
So it's like, is it going to be one of those things that blows up in their face? But the Darren Radish acquisition, getting McKenna first overall, signing Bobrovsky, I think all that stuff is stuff that, like the Bobrovsky signing, I think is another one that's going to age badly and maybe like
hmm
even next year, the year after. But for this
Yeah,
year, they made their goalies better. Like I'm trying to look at it less in terms of like long term and more just
yeah,
this
yeah.
year because it's this year's rankings. And that's kind of what brought me to putting Toronto ahead of Buffalo.
The thing with Alex Tuck though is that I feel like he was a bigger name than what he was actually doing on the ice for Buffalo because he wasn't playing, power play minutes for them on the power play one, and he was basically a
Yeah.
middle six guy for them, right?
I don't know. He played first line a decent amount, but I feel like I kind of feel the opposite. I feel like because he wasn't power play one, and so he may not have gotten necessarily that as much recognition for how much he brought to the team. I think like he plays penalty kill. I think
Yeah,
he's huge on the PK.
he is. He
I
is.
think he's really solid, even strength. I think he brought a lot to the team. I think it's a big loss.
To me, I just think that Buffalo has guys that were ready to like fill the void, and I think last year how we saw them use Alex Tuck was a big sign into like the changing of the guard. It felt like, and that's why they were like not interested in re-signing him.
Hmm.
Like they probably would have re-signed him for the right price, but he went and got a bag in Washington.
Yeah.
But I think guys like I think Doan and Benson take a step up this year. I think we can see Jack Quinn take a step up this year. We can see Ryan McLeod be like a bigger presence. We can see Yuri Coolidge be a bigger presence. Like no, but these are just guys that they're not studs, but these are like in their mid-20s guys that are ready to like be a bigger contributor. So I just feel like the void that Alex Tuck is leaving is less big than maybe we anticipate. And I think they got younger, and these young guys are going to thrive in elevated positions.
I like it from a fantasy perspective. I like Benson and
hmm
Doan's their upside this year because I think that Tuck leaving left a space, like you said, for them to kind of fill in
Yeah,
and take that next step. But I feel like you have a lot of teams that have these young guys that haven't necessarily taken the step yet and have opportunity, and those aren't teams that you project to be top 4 in their division. Those are teams that are like, oh, they have a bright future, but they're not there just yet. So that's
yeah.
kind of what brought them down a bit. And then also like looking at their center depth, who's their centers? They have Josh Norris, Yuri Kulik, Ryan McLeod,
McLeod.
and Consta Helenius. Is that their
Yeah.
4 centers?
hmm
Did I name a single center who would be a line 1 center on a line even a first or second line center on like any good team?
I think they have a bunch of line 2, line 3 centers.
Yeah,
Like I
and I
think
think
Coolidge is
center's
a
a
line
really
2 center.
important
I think Norris
position.
is a line 2 center. I think
I mean, Norris is
even
going to be
McLeod
out for
could be a
most of the
line 2
season. Let's
center.
be honest. No,
Come
obviously, I
on.
mean, like we joke, but it's going to happen, right? So who's their next man up? Like, I mean, they're going to be playing
Yeah.
a line 3 center at line 1. They're going to be playing a line, 3 center at line 2,
hmm
a line 4 center line 3. It's obviously that's one position, right? I like their wingers.
Yeah.
Obviously their D is one of the best in the league. Goaltending, was really strong last year. I
We
don't,
got to talk about that.
yeah, the whole UPL line thing. Who's the starter? So yeah, we'll get into that in a second. But pretty much just to wrap it up, that's kind of why I'm a bit lower on them. I think that that's a big hole in their roster, and we'll see if they do anything to address it, or if they just plan on letting the young guys run the show and see if they can take a step forward.
Last thing, and then we'll talk about the goalies. I just feel like this was the same roster that they had last year when they finished first, and it was just like it doesn't make sense on paper. but on the ice, it's working and it's happening. Now, they didn't have to compete with a full-fledged Florida team or, a Tampa team that was firing on all cylinders or a Toronto team that was even capable. So this year's division is going to be tougher. Maybe, it balances things out for them. But I do think that we have to give them more credit because I agree, like, on paper, I'm like, this doesn't seem like a team that should finish first in the division that should be, like, considered in that realm. But they made it work. So I'm trying to give them more credit than, like, what my mind is trying to think.
Yeah.
But maybe it's an in-between, and I think 4 is, like, a fair in-between.
Yeah.
But realistically, I think, like we said, I think the top 4 is probably the bottom 3 and the top 5, if we're
Yeah.
really thinking about it.
Yeah. All right. So for the goalies, who do you think is the starter? Is it a 50-50 or is there a starter or is it a 1A, 1B?
I think it's going to be close to 50-50 again. I think both these guys earned their fair share. Who am I drafting first? Probably UPL. But I think it's going to be close to 50-50. And it might be good value on both of these guys in the draft.
I think if you're going for the type of goalie room where you're going for quality over quantity, then both of these guys are great options. Usually, I like getting volume in mind because I just hate having a goalie on my team who will start once in a week, right? Because if they're alternating and it's a week they're playing 3 times, you can have your goalie start only once. But if they're putting up the great numbers that they put up last year, both these goalies had great stretches, then I think they're both a great value.
Would you rather Alex Lyon or John Gibson?
Lyon. Yeah. That's it. Like obviously, there's a lion to draw on where where quality outdoes quantity. I think John Gibson I can get off a free agency. I can get I can pick up Thatcher Demko or Kevin Lankinen or something like that. And whichever once Demko gets injured and just get quantity of the worst starts you'll ever get for the whole season. But I'd rather go for the 50-50 guy who can put up the good stats. All right. Should we go into the top 3 with
number 3?
At number 3, we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. Both Josh and Kevin ranked them at number 3. Last year they were second, so that's a 1-spot drop. And let's get into who is most likely from this team to end up on your team. And I think we're going to put the same guy for this one.
You think?
Yeah. I'm almost certain, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we got to be careful not to go too silent while we're writing names down.
I know,
for people that are listening on Spotify.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. All right, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Okay, it was between those two.
Yeah.
All right,
I was gonna write your name down, and then I changed my mind because I'm like, I feel like in the draft room, I'm just gonna want to have him. But I wrote down Brandon Hagel. I actually wrote down Hagel the GOAT because he's the GOAT. He was my signature pick last year. And Josh went with Braden Point.
Controversial.
It feels controversial. I've spoken to some people in the Discord server, and the sentiment is more pessimistic. People are not convinced that he's going to bounce back. They're more worried about why he was so slow last year. To me, I'm not worried at all, and I feel like this is just a prime opportunity to snag him at a discount in the draft this year because he's going to have the same deployment, right? He's in line 1, power play 1 with Nikita Kucherov, and he's going to be set up for success. This is why he's been so good in the past. He scored a lot of goals in the past, too. Like, I think he still has that. Last year, he was probably dealing with some stuff off the ice. He was, riddled with injuries. I think we're due for a big year. He gets drafted pretty highly, though, usually. Like, he's a round 3 type of guy. Like, he's very early for centers, even though he doesn't have the banger category coverage.
Yeah.
So if he misses again, or if he does what he did last year, it's going to be a big draft regret. I don't know how far I can see him falling in the draft. Like, probably around 4, I think.
I think he goes like round 5. I feel like, I don't know. I think people are, like you said, people are pessimistic on him. I don't think people are going to forget what happened last year that easily. And I think that the first 4 rounds, there's so many good options that, like you said, you're willing to miss out on the bounce back if you have to take him at cost, and that'll make him drop 2 rounds to round 5. And yeah, obviously the reason I put him is not because he's my favorite of all the guys. It's more just I think you can get value on him because of the bad season last year. And we had talked about it on our mailbag episode a bit. We had talked about a couple of the bounce back guys, and we had said, the fact that we don't know why he did so poorly last year to you was actually a positive, right? Because you were like, there's no reason why he should be so bad. So I think he's not going to do that again. And so, yeah, I believe in the bounce back as well. So that's why he would end up on mine. But obviously, Hagel the GOAT, no question there. Nothing much to say about that. I guess one interesting question for you is, do you think for the power play 1 defenseman on Tampa, do you think John Carlson has it locked up, or do you think Victor Hedman can actually be a threat for that position?
I don't think he has it locked up, but I think right now it's like a 70-30 for John Carlson. I just feel like they knew they needed to get somebody in there because Hedman wasn't necessarily reliable right now at this point in his career. Um, but I think with Hedman, it's always like it's something off the ice, right? It's like it's either an injury or whatever. When he's on the ice and he's healthy, it feels like he's still that guy, in my opinion, and he has the chemistry with the other guys that are involved. But to me, if Victor Hedman is ready to go, and he gives like the okay, I think he's gonna have the spot. It's just he's probably honest with himself and where he's at and what he's dealing with. So we'll just have to see and we'll have to trust him. So I think we'll have a good idea going into the season after we see some preseason and whatnot.
Yeah, I think for me, I feel a lot more strongly that it's John Carlson's job all the way. So you said 70-30. For me, it's more like a 90-10, honestly. Because
Okay.
we had times where Victor Hedman was healthy last year and Darren Radish was still on power play one.
But he
So
wasn't technically healthy, right? Like he was like playing, but I don't think he was
I
healthy.
guess, yeah. But I don't know. I just think his time as the power play one quarterback in Tampa, like I just don't
It's
think they would
done.
have signed Carlson if they thought Hedman was going to be back on power play one.
I mean, I think
That's just kind of how I
they
view it.
needed an option. They couldn't put all their eggs in that basket, and they lost Radish. So I feel like they had to do
Yeah,
something. And Carlson was
yeah,
probably one of the quote unquote cheaper, easy ways to do it. A guy of his
yeah.
age that's easily accessible. Um, so I see like they obviously know that they can't just rely on Hedman 100.
So
percent
like, would you draft Hedman like late in like double digit rounds with the chance that he takes it?
Yeah, I would. Like if he's going really late, like round 15 or 16. The thing is, that's never gonna happen with Victor
Yeah. What
Hedman.
about like
He'll be
around? I
like
can see him
a
going like round 12 or something like that, or 11.
no. I don't think I would.
Yeah,
If
I
he was
agree. I'm
later,
not
I
taking
would
him.
I would take the shot because at that point I won't
Yeah,
feel bad
round
cutting him
15,
and moving
16.
on.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, like it's just a dart throw, and there's a lot worse dart throws you can make.
Yeah.
But earlier than that, I'm not interested.
But who do you think goes higher in drafts, Hedman or Carlson?
Oh, Carlson's going way higher.
You think he's gonna go way higher?
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
just thinking maybe there's a little bit of name value baked in and Hedman, and people are projecting him as the power play one. If they do, like if Yahoo does that, then his ADP will
Yeah,
be higher.
yeah.
Um,
I'd be shocked. I mean, I'm like
I
talking
agree
to
with
other
you.
analysts or anything like that, but I just kind of assume that everyone thinks that Carlson's going to
Yeah,
be the power play one guy, just because that's what we think, right? So
yeah.
that's kind of where I think the ADPs are going to lie.
Where would you be comfortable taking Carlson? Like, are you really in power play one quarterback for a
I mean,
Tampa
power
team
play
that's
on
one of the
Tampa
best?
is sick, but like I don't know. I still don't see myself taking him before. Like he's probably going to go what around 6 or something like that. It's kind of like
I think 5 to 7.
yeah, somewhere like that. So I don't know. I'd probably take him round 7. I think that's a solid spot for him. I wouldn't take him round 5 and probably not round
Round
6,
6,
honestly.
no. Okay.
It depends where I am with like defensemen in my draft
Yeah.
and all that, but I
If
haven't
you're
decided
drafting him
yet.
there, he's probably your first defenseman, right? Are you comfortable John
I,
Carlson being your 1D?
yeah, that's the thing. I haven't decided yet my personal D strategy for this
Yeah.
year. I've been like rethinking it a lot since the past couple of years. I used to really value D highly, but now
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I want to approach it. So that'll affect things. Like I'm not
Mhm.
sure if I want to go for 2 early D or 1 early D or even
Mhm.
no early D and just go all in on bangers and late dart throws. So we'll
Yeah.
see we'll see what I end up doing. But I think Carlson round 7 is a great place to get him.
Yeah.
All right, at
Number 2.
At number 2, we've got the Florida Panthers. Josh has them ranked 2. Kevin has them ranked number 1. Last year they were 7th, so this is a +5 spot jump for Florida. But I don't think this is that shocking because obviously 2 major differences in their roster. Alexander Barkov coming back,
Mhm.
huge, and acquiring Brady Tkachuk, also huge. 2 massive changes. So I don't think it's a surprise to have them ranked higher. Maybe +5 slots a bit much. Maybe we could have put them at 3 or something, but you even
Yeah.
had them at 1. But yeah, I think we'll talk about that in a second. Who is most likely from this team to end up on your roster? And
You already know my answer.
I know you're not putting Brady Tkachuk. I can tell you that. Yeah, I already know your answer. I have to actually think about this. This is a tough one, man. There's like so many names like in this when we're like
They
preparing
have
for the
so many
episode.
they have so many good fantasy assets.
Yeah, that's it. I remember there was one year, I think 2 years ago, when they were like super good,
Mhm.
obviously, because it was their second cup in a row.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point they had a really good schedule. And so I was looking to pick up a streamer from Florida, and I looked, and I think all 12 of their forwards were rostered.
Yeah.
That's how deep they were, and
Insane.
it's nuts. It's
I mean,
crazy what they've done.
this might be the team that has the most players drafted in the top 3 rounds.
Yeah, I think what it's gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4
In the
players
top
drafted
3?
in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
That's
any other team that
crazy.
comes close? Maybe Tampa?
I mean,
But Tampa's
Edmonton
going
will
to have
have
3?
3.
Yeah.
Edmonton will have McDavid, Draisaitl, and Bouchard.
Yeah.
Uh,
Tampa will have Kucherov, Hagel, Gensel
Gensel.
maybe, but
Yeah.
And Point are maybe like round 5. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean,
round
Florida,
4,
they're
round
they're
5, but
nuts.
like it's
Yeah.
nuts.
I literally can't even think of
And
who's going to end up on
Vasilevsky.
my team. Yeah, Vasilevsky. No, that's true. Tampa
Yeah.
is pretty sick. Man.
Okay, did you write your name?
I honestly, I'm looking at this list
come
of
on.
names, and okay, I just gotta whatever. I'm just gonna choose one and
Choose one.
just lock
No,
it in.
I had my guess of who I thought you were gonna pick.
All right, let's see if my off the dome answer is what you thought. All right, you ready?
The player most likely to be on our teams from the Florida Panthers.
3, 2, 1. No surprise for Kevin. Are you surprised by mine?
Honestly, a little bit. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised, but it's not who I thought. So Josh goes with Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah.
I go with the one and only, the Daddy Barkov. I mean, listen, if you've been listening to the podcast for the last few years, you know my relationship with Barkov, and you know how sad I was that I was not able to draft him last year. I think
before
fantasy
that
hockey
you had
really
him like
missed
every year, right?
Every year.
Yeah.
Sometimes he was my first round pick. Our league has face-offs and all that, but
yeah.
then I realized I could get him in the second or even the third sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think he's a phenomenal player. He's the heart and soul of this Florida team, and for fantasy, he's underrated
for sure. Do you think he
people
goes round 3 this year?
I think there's a chance he goes round 3.
Yeah, especially
even
after
round
not
4.
playing last year.
But I think round 3 is the lowest.
Steal.
To me, round 3 is the lowest that I think he's going to go.
Yeah, but I also think that's probably where he's going to go. I don't see him going the first 2 rounds after missing all of last season.
If I'm at the 2-3 turn, I could take him with my second round pick or something. Like at the 210 or 211 type of thing.
Yeah.
Just to make sure I have him. I don't know.
If I'm if I'm in the 3rd round and I'm ahead of you, then I'm gonna take him.
You're gonna take all my players, apparently. Dylan Cousins, Barkov.
Hey, clearly you were doing something right last year, so I'm, I'm just gonna start sniping you.
But I think he's the most likely to end up on my team. I was very happy with Brady last year when he was on the ice. He was phenomenal. I had Sam Reinhart as well. He was great. That was the best trade I pulled off last year.
Yeah.
The best buy low ever. I thought you were gonna go with Seth Jones on your team. I thought
really. After you heard me last year.
But I think this year the power play is going to be way better, right?
That's true. Honestly, like it could be. I'm so biased from last year. How I thought I got such a steal with Seth Jones. I got him in like the 10th round or something like that, and I was like power play 1 quarterback on Florida.
Yeah, but we didn't think Florida was gonna fall apart though.
Well, there you go. So then it obviously didn't end up working out. And then like his backcats were underwhelming also. I thought that he was a solid backcats guy. So, but no, I think this year he's going to be a lot better. So I can see grabbing him if people are like me and had their first instinct is to look at last year and be like, oh, he wasn't that great. But I do love like Matthew Tkachuk. I think that he's such a kind of, we could call like a unicorn or whatever for leagues that like specifically with our settings, right? Because the PIMs, the shots, the hits, the power play points and points.
Yeah.
And I feel like if it's possible, maybe because Florida just has so many good players and because Tkachuk, was injured for a lot of last year and all that, maybe there might just be a bit of like name fatigue with him and with Florida in general of being like, they have so many good players. Because I know back in the day being like literally 2 years ago, Matthew Tkachuk was a 1st round pick, right?
Yeah. He was.
I think there's a chance he goes 2nd round this year.
To me, he's like a top 15 player.
Yeah, I agree. But
so he's either like at the cusp of the 2nd round or probably late 1st.
Yeah, so that like I think he's the value of a late 1st. I think I could potentially get him in the 2nd round. Yeah. And for that value, I love it. So that's why I put him as my guy.
I totally agree. Like if I'm at the 1-2 turn, like I started my draft. Maybe I drafted, I don't know, like Quinn Hughes or something in the 1st round, which I probably would never do. But
yeah,
and then I wrap around with a Matthew Tkachuk. Like I feel really good about that.
Yeah.
I think I would only draft Quinn Hughes if I was confident I could get Matthew Tkachuk on the turn.
Yeah.
So
what about you for the Bash Brothers? Take Brady and Matthew, and with your
somebody's
first
gonna have
picks?
that. Somebody's gonna have that somehow. But it just depends how late Brady goes, because Brady's still gonna be a 1st round pick in Bangers leagues, right?
Yeah,
in our league, it's gonna be a 1st round pick. He's probably gonna be maybe like pick 8 or 9. Is my guess.
I don't know if other people are as low on him as we
me?
are. He might still be like the
as
5th.
Low 8th overall pick.
But I mean, for Brady, that's pretty low, right? He's been pretty much the
I think that's where he goes usually. Because last year I took him.
League, you took him 4th.
No, did I?
Yeah, you
I
took
did
him
not take
fourth.
him fourth. No, Kucherov went ahead
Oh
of
no,
me.
you were right. Sorry, you took him fifth. You're right.
I took him fifth,
Yeah,
but like I think in years previous, Pasta went ahead.
yeah,
Matthews went ahead. So like
that's
getting him
fair.
around 7, 8 is kind of like normal.
Where he belongs. Okay, yeah, that's fair. But I think some people might be even higher on him. Like,
Yeah.
we were saying that like you were a bit
hmm
lower on him because of the trade, but people might see, oh, he's on a better team now. He's
hmm
playing with his brother. He's where he wants to be. So
If you guys haven't
I
listened
think,
to that episode, I'm
yeah,
lower. I'm not lower on him. I mean a little bit. I just think his risk went up, and I'm a risk averse manager, and I'm just thinking his points maybe can get a little better, but I'm just worried the banger's ceiling comes down now that he's playing
yeah,
on a team that he actually has to like be
he's less
competent, and
talismanic.
he's less
Also,
talismanic, and he can't like take dumb penalties. Like we saw with Matthew Tkachuk when he went from Calgary to Florida, he changed his game. Like he had less hits, he had less pims. They wanted him to stay on the ice, not in the penalty box. So I
yeah,
feel like I'm a little bit worried that same thing can happen to Brady. And if Brady does like a double double, still great. But you're drafting Brady because he's getting you like 3.5 shots and four
and four
hits.
hits. Yeah, absolutely. No, if Brady's saying a double double for where you drafted him, you pretty much tossed your season away because
Yeah,
you're giving up like 40 points of
yeah.
what you could have gotten with your first round pick. So no, I definitely get where you're coming from there. One more thing to touch on with Florida, I think, is their goalie situation. Them going from Bobrovsky to Jacob Markstrom
hmm
is a big question mark. I think obviously Markstrom had an awful season last year on New
hmm
Jersey, and I feel like he hasn't been good for a while. I think his last
Yeah.
good season was on Calgary, and obviously everyone expects Florida to be super good. So is it like, oh, Markstrom has been a good goalie in the past, the team is good enough that he's just going to be good by
hmm
proxy? Or is there any fear that, Markstrom plays so poorly that he loses the job to, who is it, Akira Schmid?
Yeah.
Like, so what do you think about that? Do you think he's going to be one of those draft steals, or do you think he's going to be overvalued?
To me, he's the Aiden Hill of last year, who was my signature pick, and the only L we had just because Aiden Hill was dog water. But I think it's just average goalie on a really good team. He's gonna rack up those wins. May not have the best rate stats, but he's gonna be good enough that he's gonna be average, but with a lot of wins, and I think that's valuable. I think he plays most of the starts as well. I think that's
Yeah.
valuable. So I think he's gonna be like a top 10 goalie for fantasy this season. But am I willing to draft him at that price? Probably not. I'll just
Yeah.
pick up a Kuber Schmid after he gets hurt, type of thing.
Yeah, that's it. There you go. Classic. All right. Well, if you're doing the math back home, that leaves one more team available for the.
I feel bad saying this because people are gonna think we're biased. But at number one,
For the number one spot, we've got the Montreal Canadiens. Let's go. Ça sent la coupe.
Ça sent la coupe, or
All
probably
right.
not.
Josh had them at 1, Kevin at 2. Last
I
year
had
they
them at
finished
2, guys. I'm not as big of a homer as Josh is.
Last year they finished third in the division, but they were pretty much tied for second in points, and it was like 1 point away from Buffalo. So this isn't crazy, but we have them jumping up 2 spots. And let's get right into who is most likely from the Canadiens to end up on your roster.
Do you think we're gonna match or not?
No, I don't think so.
No. Ooh, okay. I'm surprised you're so confident we're not gonna match. We always match. No, that's not true. we just didn't match.
Oh, it's tough.
Yep.
I put my
Are you
name down.
debating?
I really like it, but now I'm thinking like maybe he's too overvalued for where I would want to take him.
Ooh.
But
No, you
whatever.
wrote it down. You got to show
I wrote it down. Once it's down, you do it. All right, you ready? 3, 2, 1. That's what I was thinking of
Really?
putting, but yeah. So Kevin put Lane Hudson, the GOAT, and I put Cole Caulfield, the other GOAT. So for me, I mean, I'm kind of banking a bit on last year. I had Cole Caulfield as my fire pick in our Fire and Ice episode, and I just think, I mean, scored 50 goals, got, averaging over 3 shots per game. He's just unbelievable. The power play was one of the best power plays in the league. I think Montreal's only got to get better. Caulfield is just, I think he's unreal. He was second place for the Rocket Trophy.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess after I wrote it down, the only thing I was worried about was that because of how insane he was last year, he might be too rich for my blood. Like, where do you think he goes?
I think he's like a round 3-4 type of player, like a round 3 turn, early round 4.
That's it. Round 4, I feel really comfortable taking him. Round 3, I don't know if I would. So that's why I was like, after I wrote it down, I'm like, I'm not sure. But I love these high shooter, shot volume type players.
Would you rather Caulfield or Barkov?
That's tough. Barkov is the more like rounded player. He, but Caulfield is going to score a lot more goals. Barkov gets more
and
assists.
shoot a lot more.
Shots will go to Caulfield. I won't count faceoff wins because center versus not center. Hits and blocks. I mean, whatever. Give Barkov the edge, but I don't think there's much. There. Power play. Honestly, I feel like they can be comparable. Power play points. Barkov obviously has the edge in shorties. I don't know. I feel like I could go Caulfield over Barkov, but that might be crazy. I might be buying into the hype too much. Also, like, this is more just a homer thing, but I've never had a Habs player on my team on a year where the Habs were good. So
Josh never drafts Habs players because he's like, I do not want to see this dog water on my team. And
I don't want to be hurt in real life and in fantasy by the same player, essentially. So, but it would be really nice to, enjoy the Habs games even more by having Caulfield or one of those top guys on my team. So there's a little bias there. But yeah, what about you with your Lane Hutson?
I think Lane Hutson, I'd be very comfortable with Lane Hutson being my first defenseman.
Oh, easy, yeah.
If you can get him in like the 4th round, I think that's
a steal.
That's probably a steal.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where he's going to be going, especially in bangers leagues. Like Sider went in the 3rd last year, and Sider's got like the bangers plus the points, and we were optimistic about Sider's points potential last year. I think Lane Hutson can take a massive step up this season, and really be like, Quinn Hughes, Makar level. In my mind, like that's in the realm of outcomes. Like obviously, it sounds crazy saying that out loud, and you guys are gonna say, "Oh, we're just Habs fans, or you guys are crazy, or whatever." We are like the most unbiased Habs fans you can get.
As we put Montreal number 1 in the division.
I put them number 2.
Okay.
Don't forget. But I just think that Lane Hutson has everything that he needs to be a top tier fantasy defenseman, and if he puts it together this year, like Montreal had such a big year last year, like we're not just saying they're good because we're homers. They were a few games away from the Stanley Cup, right? I don't know. I'm really excited. I would love to have him on my team. I'm not gonna get him. I feel like he's gonna go in round 3, and it'll be a little bit too rich for me. But I would love to have him.
Okay, you want to hear a hot take that I just came up with, but I think it's true. I think I'd rather have Lane Hutson than Dahlin on my team.
Ooh, that is a hot take.
Yeah.
Is that crazy though?
I feel like Dahlin is one of those guys. I mean, this is from me drafting Sider 3rd round last year.
Yeah.
I think Dahlin's one of those guys like Sider who's skating by on the reputation of being an elite banger, when I feel like he's giving you like 1.7 hits and like 1.7 blocks or something like that, And obviously he's got the points, but to me, it's no doubt in my mind Hudson's going to have more points and power play points than Dahlin. So the Dahlin argument is the Backcats. I feel like Hutson potentially blocks more than Dahlin. I'd have to check the stats.
I think Hutson does block more than Dahlin.
Yeah.
Hutson was low-key good at blocks last year.
That's it, yeah. So like Dahlin will give you a slight edge in shots and a slight edge in hits, but
I think it's more than a slight edge in shots, though.
Fine.
Like it's going to be probably almost a shot a game extra.
Yeah, okay. A shot a game and like 1.5 hits, but I think like Hudson's going to get significantly more points in power play points. So that's my hot take that about defensemen.
No, I can see that.
I think you saying that Lane Hutson comparable to like maybe not Makar, because I think Makar's shot volume is so good, and that's why I also wouldn't necessarily compare Hutson to like a Bouchard, because I think his shot volume is so good. But I feel like Quinn Hughes is just one of those like he's like the best version of what like Lane Hutson could become, but I think Lane Hudson's already like right there with him, you know, and no one's gonna look at you twice if you draft Quinn Hughes at the end of the 1st round. So if you can get Lane Hutson in like the 3rd or 4th, I think that's a huge steal.
I'm just like going through the numbers right now, and in my mind, I feel like Hutson is like my 5th defenseman on my board.
I fully agree. I've got Makar, Hughes, Werenski, and Bouchard ahead of him.
Literally exactly.
Yeah.
And we can be talking next year, and he's ahead of Werenski, he's ahead of Bouchard, or he's just
really
right
for me.
in
The main edge that those two guys have over him is the shots. I think Werenski and Bouchard are both elite at shots, especially for a defenseman, and I don't think Hutson has that aspect to his game. So that's the main difference for me.
But the thing is, I think Hutson is the best at blocks out of all of those guys ahead of him. So if he's like the blocks version and the other guys are the shots version, then I'll just make up the shots somewhere else. If he's getting me the points and the power play points, then I'm still happy, you know?
Yeah, and I will say blocks is one of the hardest categories to get consistently. So I love it. Yeah, very, very high on Hutson. I was about to write him down, but then I just got caught up in the Caulfield hype. But yeah, I mean, look,
maybe I will take him in the 3rd round. I don't know.
Yeah, if they're going in a similar round, I'm taking Hutson over Caulfield. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Meanwhile, neither of them is even the top Hab who's going to get drafted.
Yeah.
It's going to be Nick Suzuki.
Where's Suzuki getting drafted?
Easy second round for me.
How high in the second, though?
I think mid-second.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Who's ahead of him? Let me see. Let me give you a few names, okay? Just a few.
All right. A few, and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, McDavid, McKinnon, Kucherov, Draisaitl, that's 4. Celebrini, 5. Makar, 6. Pastrnak, 7. Kaprizov, 8. Quinn Hughes, 9.
Yeah.
Austin
Both
Matthews?
Kachucks. Yeah, Matthews.
10. Both Kachucks, 11, 12. Yeah. Robertson?
I don't know. I might go Zook over Robertson.
Jack Hughes?
I'm taking Hughes over
okay, so that's 13. Zach Werenski?
Yeah, probably taking Werenski and Bouchard, I think.
Really? Okay.
I mean, it depends the position. Again, I haven't wrapped my head around where I'm with defensemen.
Jack Eichel?
Oh yeah, I'm taking Eichel over Suzuki.
Yeah, Rantanen?
And Marner too. Marner and Rantanen, yeah.
Okay,
take out the defenseman because I'll probably take Suzuki over those guys, but you could toss in
Natchez?
Eichel, Marner, and Rantanen. I'll take Suzuki over Natchez.
Okay.
So mid-second.
He's like 17, 18-ish.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. We're in the era where Habs players are actually fantasy relevant, and it's still jarring. I never have any of them on my team.
I know, that's it. I've had to like adjust my rule of never drafting any Habs players because we're actually good now.
Yeah, crazy.
It's nice to see.
I hope everybody enjoyed this episode of us covering the Atlantic Division. We tried to make it a little more fun. We got a little whiteboards and stuff. If you guys have any ideas of things you want us to do or cover or whatnot, let us know in the comments below. And also, if you made it this far, I've been putting polls on our Spotify episodes. So if you're watching this and you're listening to this, go vote in the poll. I want to see how many people are actually going to do that. Because every time we get like between like 2 to 5 votes on the polls, and I'm just like, I never voted on a Spotify poll. I didn't even know they were there. But now that I make them, I'm like, oh, they're there. So I wonder.
I love it.
Yeah. And make sure you check out the Patreon. All the links are in the description. Come play fantasy hockey with the best category league community out there. There's a lot of points leagues out there. There's no banger community out there except us. So join the Discord.
If you play in the league, everything we talk about is tailored to those league settings. Where we talk about it more generally, so it's applicable to everyone, but it's really geared to that. So if you're in one of these leagues, you're getting like really like spoon-fed exactly what you want to hear. So it's like, get in here.
It's the inaugural year. There has not been a league a year before this, so you have an equal amount of chance to play in the same league as Josh and I. There's a sign-up page. We're taking your years of experience. We're taking your ranking, other information, and then I have an algorithm that's going to run that's going to be random. But obviously, we want to make it tiered, right? So the better players are going to be at the top. But it's the first year, so we don't know who the better players are just yet.
That's it.
Equal chance. Come play with us, and there's prizes. Prizes.
It's going to be really fun. And even if you don't get placed in a league with us, the way it's going to work, it's relegation system, kind of like in soccer. So if you win your league, if you're in one of the what we call the feeder leagues, then you can then get the chance to play with us next year. And as I like to say every time we talk about this, you get the opportunity for me to spam you with trade requests all season. So
you've heard Josh complain about all his trade requests getting declined and stuff on the podcast in the past. Now you could be the one declining them.
This could be you.
All right. On that note, anything else to say? Nope. All right. Take it away, Ernie.
Ba-ba-da-bow-bow, Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo!